Electrum Core is a plugin that delivers the core amp and cab modules from the full-up Electrum plugin. But since it's a standalone plugin, it needs to stand up on its own merit, so I'm going to test it out and see if it's a keeper or a tosser. Maybe I should have used a different word. Anyways, let's see who this plugin might be for and whether or not it's worth grabbing. Plugin. So Electrum Core is really a light version of Electrum, but really it's a plugin that focuses on the amp and cab modules, getting you straight to the tone shaping tools. So let's take a look at some of the features, and then afterwards, we'll check out how it sounds. The Electrum Core from United Plugins' Muramasa team takes the main amp and cab modules from the full Electrum plugin. They've also kept the input analyzer. This allows you to automatically set the input of the plugin to an optimal level. I demonstrate how this works in my Electrum review. The link for that is in the description. They've also given you Bassman, which is a simple octave effect. There's a limiter and standard input and output controls. The amp section gives you 5 different amp styles, ranging from clean to ultra-high gain. You can drive the amp with the big gain knob in the center, and you can tweak the tone with a handful of shaping tools. There's a 3-band EQ, plus 10 other controls that lets you customize your sound. The cabinet simulator has 16 cabinet simulations and 21 alterations, giving you over 300 cabinet options. So I'm going to test out this plugin in 2 different ways. The first way, I'm just going to plug my guitar into my interface and try different combinations of amp and cab simulations to see what kind of tones we can get out of it. But the other thing I'm going to try is, since I am a tube amp guy, you can actually bypass the amp module of the plugin. So I want to see how well it works as, in essence, a flexible cab IR. Let's check it out. In this first example, I'm using a Tele-style guitar in the neck position. I'm using the blue amp with just a hint of gain. I'm using the US Blue speaker with some sparkle in the character setting, and I've added a little ambience. Let's listen to the direct signal, and then I'll turn on the plugin. Let's listen to this guitar in the mix. For heavier tones, I typically double track my guitars, so I'm going to treat Electrum Core much like I would any real amp or amp modeler. I'm using a hollow body Gibson with a humbucker in the bridge position. On the left side, I went with the orange amp. This thing delivers quite a bit of gain, so I didn't need to dial in too much. You can see the tweaks I made. I went with the silky smooth speaker with a scooped mid character adjustment and a touch of ambience. On the right side, I tracked a second take playing the same part and went with the black amp, which is the highest gain amp. Again, I didn't need to dial in too much gain because this thing screams. I went with the heavy American speaker and minimal other tweaks. Let's check it out. Now let's hear the 2 guitars together. And now let's hear them both in the mix. Here's a little taste of some clean tones I put together. I blended 3 guitars, all on my telly, and all recorded direct. The main arpeggio riff is on the left side, and I played the octave of this riff on the right. And then I added a lead part. I added a touch of reverb to give you an idea how you can shape your clean tones. The reverb is actually Muramasa's Morpherb. I did a full review on this plugin as well. The link is in the description. Last example, I explored using Electrum Core as a standalone speaker sim by recording my Rev G20 direct with the speaker sim bypassed, and I bypassed the amp sim in Electrum Core, allowing it to handle the speaker sim for the G20. Here's the G20 with no speaker sim on the right side. Here's Electrum Core's cabinet sim edit. I used the heavy speaker, thick setting in character, and a little ambience. Let's take a listen. For the final tone, I blended a DI recorded guitar and used Electrum Core with the orange amp and the Orangeator speaker. I also added a lead part with the Rev and Electrum Core combo. Let's listen to it in the mix. So the question remains, is Electrum Core going to get the plug-in or the plug-out designation? Well, let's find out. So before I render my verdict, I had to consider a number of things. Now, I already have Electrum, so I didn't feel it was fair to disregard it because I already have Electrum. And I also didn't think it would be right to say I like it just because I like the tones that I do get out of Electrum. So instead, I want to see who this plugin might be for. Now, let's face it, some guitar players just don't like all-in-ones. They want to take their amp and cab sims in one plugin. They want to use their other plugins, their favorite plugins like reverbs and all their modulation effects and gates and things like that. They don't want to rely on one plugin to deliver their entire tone. So if that's you, well, Electrum Core is going to deliver those amp and cab simulations, and it's going to allow you to use your other favorite plugins in combination with this one. Also, if you're like me and you like recording real tube amps, this gives you another option in terms of cab IRs, and this is more of a flexible cab IR because you have different tweaks and things you can do to it, much more than you get out of a static IR. So it becomes a flexible cab IR plugin. Now, if you've been looking at Electrum and it's just outside of your budget, well, Electrum Core gets you in a lot cheaper. And the good news is that United Plugins is offering a very fair upgrade path. So in the future, you can upgrade Electrum Core to the full Electrum plugin and you won't be left behind. So when you weigh all of those factors, you know what? To me, Electrum Core is definitely a winner. I definitely think it's worth trying. And United Plugins offers free trials on all of their plugins. So don't just take it from me, get your hands on it and see if it works for you. And if you do, let me know in the comments. Since I touched on recording amps directly, I've got a video right here you might want to check out. If you want to support this channel, I am on Patreon. I also have affiliate links, helps kick back a little something to the studio and helps me make more content just for you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. And most importantly, hope I'm going to see you again in another video.